It would be great to have someone who could do our work for us, right? Someone to prevent us from making mistakes. It would be great to have someone who could do our work for us, right? Someone to prevent us from making mistakes. Someone to assist with our routine professionally and allow us to devote our time to communicating with our closest people. Someone to prevent us from making mistakes. Someone to assist with our routine professionally and allow us, if only we could get results without wasting our time for nothing. Unfortunately, it's impossible in real life. But wait, Liteforex social trading. Spend your time doing what really matters to you. Unfortunately, it's impossible in real life. But wait, Liteforex social trading. Spend your time doing what really matters to you. Unfortunately, it's impossible in real life. But wait, Liteforex social trading. Spend your time doing what really matters to you. Unfortunately, it's impossible in real life. But wait, Liteforex social trading. Spend your time doing what really matters to you. Unfortunately, it's impossible in real life. But wait, Liteforex social trading. Spend your time doing what really matters to you.
Doesn't guarantee future results. Oh, right, guys.
Liteforex social trading. Spend your time
So,
doing what really matters to you.
doesn't guarantee future results. Oh, right, guys.
Liteforex social trading.
Hopefully. So,
Doing what really matters to you.
right now, everything is alright. Oh, right, guys. Hi, Mar, how you doing? Hopefully. So, right now, everything is alright. Oh, right, guys. Hi, Mar, how you doing? Hopefully. So, looks like we still have a problem with the chat from my side. It's not available on the YouTube. Hi, Mar, how you doing? Hopefully. Looks like we still have a problem with the chat from my side. It's not available on the YouTube. Hi, Mar, how you doing? Hopefully. Looks like we still have a problem with the chat from my side. It's not available on the YouTube. Hi, Mar, how you doing? Okay. Looks like we still have a problem with the chat from my side. It's not available on the YouTube. Hi, Mar, how you doing? Okay. Nothing extraordinary if we are talking about the calendar today. Looks like we still have a problem with let's have a look what we have. Actually, nothing during the New York session. Okay. Nothing extraordinary if we are talking about the calendar. It might be a little bit boring. Let's have a look what we have. We will see. How the market will behave around the New York cash open. Let's have a look what we have. We will see. How the market will behave, and then we will decide if we are going to stay for a third part, right? Open. Because if it's going to be so boring, then why should we? How the market will wait and watch and waste our time, right? On the other hand, if it's going to be attractive, busy, so boring, then why should we? Anyway, wait and watch and waste our time, right? On the other hand, if it's going to be attractive, busy, sound is not stable. Well, I don't know why. Anyway. Wait and everything seems correct on my side. On the other hand, if it's going to be attractive, busy, sound is not stable. Well, oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, Mayor. I know what happened. Yeah, should be fine right now. Thank you for the advice. I know what happened, so I fixed it already. Yeah, great. Thank you. Thank you. So what's the important thing of this morning? We spent a lot of time earlier today to discuss the possible scenario on euro dollar during the London session. What happened? Well, right to the pip, the spike we've seen during the London session, right? It was the right to the pip compared to yesterday rally, right? So what we discussed this morning, it was the overall move to the downside, the first yellow box, then the orange box first bounce, yesterday move which was equal in size to the first yellow move, and we were discussing that if that's the case, bears are going to wait right here, boom, to the pip. To the pip. So congratulations to everyone, to every bear, intraday bear who took the advantage of that. Now, the bears, intraday bears are good as long as we are below that high, and the first target is around yesterday low. All right, we are trying to hold yesterday low, so the first target is towards the yesterday low. So right now, because we know what everything means here, just to avoid that we are going to miss something, I'm going to clean these rises. We all know what it's all about. So right now, straight to the point. Now, the very important question is what's going to happen around the yesterday low. So let's switch to daily chart, and I'm going to, if you don't know what those purple boxes, what does it mean, I strongly encourage you to visit Liteforex YouTube channel, archive section, and check our morning meeting. We were trying to make the measure of the upside downside moves. Now, from the higher time frame perspective, from the daily chart, what we discussed when we talking about yesterday low, right? We were trying to compare what happened yesterday to what we've seen during the 21st of June, right? The trading range from the 21st of June, and actually we took out the low over here. So this breakout candle, the base over here, has been taken out. Now, there is a very interesting thing when we are talking about the next possible support, and here is a possibility to have a discussion, right? What I mean by that is, are we going to take into the consideration the latest market weakness? Because we already been above this level here. There was a strong and deep pullback. So shall we take into the consideration this latest weakness? I think that it still could be the case, and especially if we are going to make measure like this over the course of those two up waves, right? That was the biggest correction over here. So let's make the measure from the very top, right? So there is a still chance we are going to see lower levels. It might be towards the latest weakness we've seen here. We are talking about 22nd of April. We are talking about 23rd of April as well, right? Over here. That's the one thing. A little bit lower, we've got, based on what we've seen, drop base rally, right? So a little bit lower towards 12, 15, 1180, we have, based on the daily chart, we do have this huge demand zone, right? So yeah, there are few interesting levels to the downside, not far from here, from the bear's perspective, which should also activate some kind of the bullish activity around. So yeah, I'm going to watch very carefully. On the other hand, any kind of the rally higher towards the weekly open, and we should see the bearish activity. We should see attempt to probability of the activation of this supply from the left side. So that's how it looks. That's how it looks from the higher time frame, right? So let's get back to this spike. What caused this spike to the upside? It was, as you can see, it was very similar to what it looks like, the same algo here and here, right? Looks like the same algo here and here. Anyway, the spike to the upside was based on the ECB members' comments that they are not in rush to cut in July, right? So that was the spike. But they are not in rush, but anyway, so if they are not gonna cut the July, so then August, September, right? So we will see. We will see. Now, cannot be ruled out that we will try to hit some stops above this high, but just few pips are allowed. Anyway, I'm sorry. Only few pips are allowed above this with strong rejection. That's what the bears are looking for. Otherwise, if we are going to get and close above, we might turn bullish short term, right? And it might be that we are going to see a rally back towards weekly open, right? In that case, so we might try to look for some kind of. It's not, because it's not the correct place, right? But it might be some kind of something similar to inverted head and shoulders. Might be in case here. Okay. So that's how it looks. We are bouncing right now in between today's high and yesterday low. So that's how the things from the euro dollar perspective looks like here on euro dollar. All right, guys. Before we move further, there is a good excuse to make the short break, and listen, guys, there is a very good reason to make a short break. I would like to announce that 2nd of July 2019, that's the Liteforex birthday. And it's a 14th birthday. So congratulations. Let me put it on the chat. So I would appreciate your help, guys, if you can place the happy birthday in the comment section. Thanks in advance, right? So we wish all the best to the Liteforex company. Yeah, they are doing, every year they're doing better and better. In return, what I get from Liteforex team, that they wish us success in Forex and profitable trading. Thank you Liteforex. Now, one more important thing is, guys, that because of this birthday, there is a special promo code for you. So please go and check this promo code. And right now we can get back into our charts. We will have some birthday wishes, right? We will have some more birthday wishes during the second part. All right, so we discussed euro dollar. I have and pound, which we are testing right now, possible supply. But I would like to briefly discuss. Dollar yen. I'm long here, and looks like I might be trapped. I was trying to take the opportunity because of this attempt to break higher. My mistake, because that's why I'm here with this position to explain my mistake here. The market didn't hit my stop yet. But what was my mistake here? I was trying to this time use the breakout. I'm doing this very rarely, and they trapped me again here. The thing is, the point is, what is important that I've learned the lesson already. There was an attempt. It was just stop count above the Tokyo high, with immediately. It was immediately rejected, right? I should cut immediately right when we started to create this upper shadow and when we went lower below this hourly candle, right? So immediately it was a time for me to cut. So yeah, I'm going to watch carefully the market. I may not wait for the stop count towards these levels. Right now we are bouncing in between the this week high and weekly open, so we are still above the weekly open. We'll see. The thing is with indices that this sentiment is not that great, and it's not surprise for me because we discussed it, and I've been thinking with this dollar yen that they will use the opportunity yesterday to make that break. Anyway, they didn't. So yeah, I'm fighting here. So just that's what I was trying to show you. The lesson been learned, right? But not disturbing us from that perspective. Let me hide this dollar yen. Anyway, we are testing possible supply on the pound dollar right now. We will get back to the dollar yen closer to the US cash open. We are approaching intraday possible supply. As you can see, there is a reaction, right? The thing is very interesting on the pound dollar. So let me explain exactly what I'm talking about. We have to get back. We have to get back here to. If you remember, we were live these days probably. It was 17th of June, mid-June, right? 17th of June. Strong move to the downside. There was one more. There was a drop-based drop, but this one, the one lower over here, was tested, and we were discussing it's not that urgent unless they will try to at some point finish the business over here later on, right? But right now, right now, small accident. Right now we are approaching. I didn't include the upper shadow, so with upper shadow, yeah, we can argue that we hit that zone already. All right, I didn't include that one. I like the bodies, so I'm going to watch the New York session for possible stop count and the reaction closer towards the psychological 26 level. All right, but that's important, right? And finally we got back here. All right, that also very important. Now where we are to the downside, we know. Where we are to the upside, we're testing the supply. And what is important, that it might be some kind of the fight right now. It might be some kind of the fight right now because we are also around yesterday low, right? So first day of the week low. So I would be very, very, very careful trying to chase the market here. All right. I don't want to chase the short side here. Even we saw very weak PMI today, another one. Yesterday manufacturing, today construction, and tomorrow is the one of the most important. I mean, tomorrow is a PMI services, and I'm gonna to use that opportunity. And I would like to invite you tomorrow, 10:15 a.m. CET, 15 minutes ahead of the UK data. We are going to start covering this event live, so you are more than welcome to join me tomorrow. By the way, we have usual pre-London Open tomorrow. We are going to cover UK PMI services, and then of course afternoon we are going to have our usual New York live market coverage, right? New York Open live market coverage. Now today there is nothing extraordinary from the calendar perspective, but tomorrow during the Tokyo session we are going to get Caixin services PMI, Chinese one, right? We are going to get building approvals from Australia, and it's gonna be very important, mostly because of what we get from RBA today. You remember we discussed RBA today. So with pound we down, we know where we are. Let's see the reaction if we are going to get back towards 26, right? That's the first supply, but I'm more interested with the supply from hourly, which wasn't hit yesterday, or was it? There's one here. Oh, it was. No, it wasn't. No. So we have some stops, and I'm more interested in that higher supply, right? So in case of some kind of the 1-to-1 from here break, and that's exactly what I'm talking about, right? But from pound long perspective, I want to see stop hunt with rejection to the downside. Now we were talking about the Australian dollar this morning because of the RBA cut, because of the reaction after the cut. Mostly the reaction was because of there was no clear declaration that we are going to cut further, right? But the thing is that they can easily make the adjustments. But also what we've seen in the statement, it was the housing price stabilization within the big cities in Australia, right? So the upcoming Tokyo session and building approvals, that might be the short term. We might get short-term direction from the Australian dollar perspective. So that's what we are going to get during the upcoming Tokyo session. Then European session, and again PMI services this time, right? So it's a PMI day during the Tokyo session, PMI day during the European hours, and of course we are going to wait for Spanish, Italian, French, German one, as well as for the UK PMI services numbers, right? I've mentioned earlier today that this is the specific week, right? This is a very specific week because one can argue we do have 4th of July on upcoming Thursday, so it's a long weekend in US. Actually, that's most probably what's going to happen. The activity will go down, but don't forget we do have non-farm payrolls. We do have non-farm payrolls on Friday, and because of the lower liquidity, we might see higher volatility if someone wants to manipulate that market ahead of the weekend. Anyway, non-farm payrolls is on Friday, but on Wednesday, we are going to have this, I'm calling this preludium, right? Because on Wednesday, tomorrow we are going to have this ADP non-farm employment change. So this computer report. Last time it was, both were very close. So because of what we have to understand, because of the possibility to have a long weekend, we might actually see full reaction, like we are going, like after non-farm payrolls, but we might have this full reaction tomorrow after ADP, right? The good thing is we are going to be live tomorrow at the time, so we will see what is going on. So that's how it looks from the calendar perspective. Of course, we have US PMI as well, and as ISM tomorrow, and crude oil inventories. So I've mentioned about the Australian dollar because of the building approvals and because of the because we are post RBA and after 25 basis point cut, right? So let's have a look what is going on here with Australian dollar. Just a short update to what we discussed this morning. Okay, so we were discussing this reaction to the downside, right? So let's switch to even lower time frame. Yeah, that was here, right? So the initial reaction right after the decision and the cut, it was immediately spiked down, where the first minute after the decision ended with long lower shadow, right? Then when we took out the first minute price range, we went higher, and from higher time frame perspective, it was quite important because of where we are right now. Now, what we were discussing, this maybe we are going to see attempt to retest these lows, right? Because of where we are, but instead 2 hours later, we created another nice looking demand candle. And again, 2 hours later, this demand been tested twice, and we are in the rally process, right? Now, on the other hand, we discussed from the higher time frame perspective where we might expect some counter attack from the bear side, right? So let's switch to the higher time frame here on Australian dollar, and let's have a look what we have. We were discussing this price action. We've seen combination of the Friday price action and yesterday huge drop, right? So it might be that Monday and last Friday and yesterday it was some kind of the stop count based on the high we've seen on the very beginning of the June. I'm talking about the 7th of June, all right? And yesterday there was a strong rejection. Overall, US dollar was strong yesterday, so that was the case, I would say, the main thing yesterday. But we were discussing this morning, because of that price action, we have a first possible supply close to psychological 0.7, right? But I would say that I would prefer to see the rally either towards 70.30, some kind of the over-under creation here from the bear's perspective, or even 70.50, a little bit higher. Now, we are also discussing where we might see the bullish price action, what is going on. And we were discussing the latest move to the downside, the whole thing here, right? So in case we are going to consider the whole move, the whole wave to the downside as a one, so that was around 70, right? Psychological level. So we can consider this as a latest weakness, right? So there was attempt to break higher, failure. So in case of the retest of the 70, that's what I mentioned a second ago, we should see again activation of that supply, right? But what we also discuss, it was what if the real weakness was from here. That's the latest bullish candle, 11th of June, right? What if we have the latest weakness from here? So now the yesterday price action might be treated only as correction, Riley base, and we might see Riley again. So in that case right now, you know what was behind, probably, I'm not saying 100%, but what was probably behind this bullish activity here and here, right? So it's gonna be very, very interesting to see where we are going to end the day from the Australian dollar perspective, right? What we also discuss, just briefly, I've mentioned that also maybe you don't want to trade long Aussie via USD. I've mentioned that Euro Aussie looks not bad from the higher time frame perspective. What I mean by that, that's the daily Euro Aussie chart, right? We have possible supply a little bit higher, which has not been tested yet. And it looks like it might not be tested for quite some time in the near future, as it depends where we are gonna to end the day. But look at the yesterday price action. And what happened yesterday, it was after the lower Friday close. What we've seen yesterday, it was just the retest, what we've already seen to the left, and rejection. Even more, right now, we are below weekly open. So let's have a look what we have from intraday perspective. And it was nice overall euro spike over here, but it was no, the first one was based on the RBA, the second one was based on the ECB comments. All right, so that's where is the supply, which has been tested right during at the very beginning of the Tokyo session, and nicely moving down since then, right? So yeah, and we are around the weekly open, and looks like we might have some kind of the intraday supply already here. And as you can see, that's what's going on at the very beginning of the New York session. Retest and moving below weekly open. I think we are a little bit late here. I didn't monitor Euro Aussie over the course of the London session. That might be my mistake. But okay, that's market is gonna give us another chance, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. So that's how I see the things here, right? But when considering eventually considering longs on Aussie, we have to be aware what is going on here. And here, very interesting stuff is going on. I'm talking about the Chinese yuan, of course, right? Because there was an attempt to break lower, get back below the range we've seen at the very beginning of the 2019. I'm talking about the 8th of the January, right? So ahead of the G20, there was an attempt to break lower, rally back, and the gap down. Retest, and it was like the retest. But come on, there was no follow through, and we are above, again above. That's gonna be very interesting where we are at the end of the day. That range from today on Chinese yuan may eventually dictate what is going on with dollar, right, in the near future. We'll see. So have to be very very careful, right? Here, let's switch to Aussie USD. We know where we are on euro dollar. We know where we are on pound because what we discussed already. I'm not interested in this supply. That's what I explained already. We are approaching first break today. So within, yeah, we are going to make the break. Let me yeah, very tricky, Mayor. That's very true. That's very true. And especially today when there is nothing in the from the calendar perspective. So it might be either boring or might be even worse. It might be not boring, but we might see a little bit stop count to the upside, a little bit stop count to the downside, and you know, some upsides, some downsides. That's the worst thing may happen, right? Anyway, it's time for a break. I'll be back around the top of the hour. So guys, bar is open, coffee, tea, non-alcoholic drinks. Enjoy the break. Charts are going to be visible. I'll be back around the top of the hour.
It would be great to have someone who could do our work for us, right? Someone to prevent us from making mistakes. Someone to assist with our routine professionally and allow us to devote our time to communicating with our closest people. If only we could get results without wasting our time for nothing. Unfortunately, it's impossible in real life. But wait, Liteforex social trading. Spend your time doing what really matters to you.
Welcome back, welcome back. That's the second part of our today's meeting, and based on what we've seen, at least for now, it's like second and the last part. We'll see what's going to happen around the US Cash Open. But let's go through some news, leaks, rumors in regards to the EU top jobs, right? We do know there are some conflicts, some trying to push that person, some trying to push other person. Anyway, EU leaders have a top job package but need to get sign-off from the parliament. As it stands, the EPP not happy they won't be getting EP. These are tentative names. Commission, von der Leyen. Council, Charles Michel, probably. Parliament, Stanichev, HRVP, Borrell. But here, guys, ECB, Lagarde. Is this some kind of the joke or what? Lagarde. So that's the first top central bank. It's not gonna be independent. Anyway, we have to get back to September 2018 when the Lagarde been asked if she's wants to get this type of the position. She was saying like, no, I'm not interested in any European position, no ECB, no. How come she wants to be ECB leader if her memory is so short? Mary, yeah. But right now it's gonna be even more funny. Holy Maloney. Wouldn't it be better just to, I don't know, shut down the European Central Bank or something like this? Holy Maloney. So what we need right now in US, we need the replacement, right? Ivanka Trump should replace Powell. All right, let's get back to business. One more thing in relation to Australian dollar. Let's have a look what we have in Aussie. No, it was like of course it was like a joke. Let's have a look what we have on Aussie Kiwi. We were discussing this setup some time ago. We hit that levels previous week and yesterday. And what I'm talking about is the possible demand zone. We do have reaction, right? Inside that zone, all right? I like the move to the upside today. So right now, looks like yesterday price action, especially the high and the weekly open, right now should work as a possible demand. So taking into the consideration what we've seen, right? So this supply here. Oh, sorry. This supply here, as you can see, being consumed on the 22nd of June with this spike higher. This supply here being consumed. This supply here being consumed. Everything here being consumed. So looks like we do have a chance at least for 106.30, 106.50. So in case of a little bit of the pullback, maybe because of the building approvals, for example, during upcoming Tokyo session. I don't know, to be honest with you. But anyway, I like what is going on here from the bullish perspective. All right. The only thing I would like to see here is a little bit of the pullback towards 104.60. It's just 30 pips from now. Is it possible? Of course it is, right? Of course it is, in my opinion. What we have currently from the intraday perspective, we are testing right now some kind of the possible supply based on what we've seen here from the 1 hour chart over here. Right? What is here is this kind of the over under possibility. So let's have a look. We have reaction right now. So yeah, maybe we are going to get the 30 pips pullback, and in case of the demand, I'm talking about what we've seen over here, right? So that's something around 0465, 0460. So yeah, waiting for the pullback. Now the second thing, when we're talking about the Australian dollar, because right now we were talking from the positive perspective, but because we do have just 1%, right, when we're talking about the interest rates, so some of you may not remember, I don't remember, for example, but as far as I remember my trading history for almost 20 years, right? I don't remember we had such a low interest rates in Australia. Maybe I'm mixing something, but anyway, what my point is that in case of the huge risk of sentiment, it was always a little bit too expensive to try to short Australian dollar versus yen. It is a bit cheaper right now. So in case of the risk of sentiment, Aussie yen might be the solution. So what we have on Aussie yen here from higher time frame perspective, that's a little bit too high right now. For now, in my opinion, this over-under over here, right, it might be the case. Now, we are talking here about something closer to 79, all right? And what I like here, it's like 300 pips. I know it's quite good distance, but we will check lower in a second. But right now, why I like these levels over here is because of what we've seen towards in November 2018, towards the end of the here, then huge break, then 1, 2, 3 attempts, attempt to break higher, and we never retested this level, right? I'm talking right now about 79.85, right? That's the whole zone, and that's the top of that zone. The bottom of that zone, right, is here. When we're talking about this combination through the, when there was an attempt to break higher, right? So the bottom of that we are talking here is what we are talking about is something closer to 79, right? So that's something around 79. Let's have a look what we have a little bit lower, and a little bit lower but already been tested is the one over here, right? So there was a little bit of the range, and when I'm talking about the range, I'm talking about what we had here. I had break, failure, strong move to the downside, right? So right now what we have here, there was immediately we had a gap down, we closed that gap immediately, lower. So I do expect that in case we are going to see 7750, 7780, we might see some kind of the bearish activity here. But again, I do prefer higher towards 79, all right, from the higher time frame perspective. So that's in case of risk of sentiment. It's going to be a little bit cheaper to try to short Aussie versus yen right now, thanks to RBA, right? So with this one in mind, I think we are done with the Australian dollar for a while here. So let's go briefly through the majors. Nothing extraordinary here on euro dollar. Bears are trying to I've been thinking for a second, but anyway, thank you for update, Mer. Yeah, good that all is good. That's good. So the bears are trying to control because of what we discussed previously. The first possible target is around the yesterday low, right? It's a nice possible demand over here. So something closer towards 1285, 1280. Pound trying to take out the supply, but we were discussing again during the first part of our meeting. I'm not interested in that one. I'm much more interested closer to the yesterday New York high and some stops above, right? Why? Because below we've got very important demand. So even if we are going to react here and we are going to go lower a bit, then something closer to the figure 26 psychological level, I might even be even because of this not good UK PMI numbers. Just a reminder, we got two already, manufacturing and construction, both weak like hell. Anyway, here with the first test, we might see bullish activity. I'm not interested, but maybe you know what? Let's have a look what we have on a smaller time frame. Maybe we should discuss. Maybe I should take it. Because in the smaller time frame, we have something like this, and we are testing this right now. because I'm thinking about the here on the pound with the stop above 50. It's gonna be how come market is not working? What the heck is going on here? Let's wait for these stops. It's not full 3 to 1. Let's have a look. Yeah, it might be just the stop count over here. What we have. So from 1 minute, something like a little bit too low. Just 2-3 pips. Let's have a look if we are gonna have some kind of the luck here. I don't like this supply. I've mentioned before, I don't like this supply. I have a limit to sell on Nasdaq as well at 7,800. I don't like this supply, but let's have a look. It should be like this at least. Let's watch for a while this pound. Let's have a look if we have some kind of the action here. Yeah, we've moved. We need the move below yesterday low 26.32. We'll see. Just not to be disturbing by the price moving around the entry level. Let's have a look if there is anything in relation to the Boris Johnson activity. Maybe that's the reason of the pound move. I can't see anything right now. I can't see anything right now. That's the whole. This is for stops. You might try to clean these stops based on the Tokyo high. We'll see. At least something is going on right now. All right. Anyway, we are approaching the US cash open. So let's have a look what we have from the higher time frame. We have upper shadow. So there was an attempt to go higher because of G20 outcome. But as I mentioned yesterday, there's nothing new. So why we should make new high? Anyway, where we are still inside this big range from the very beginning of the May, 3rd of May, right? Now we're trying to go higher. Of course, the daily close, it's quite okay compared to what we've seen here, right? We're trying to, right now, treated this move after the gap higher post G20, we're trying to treat it as a rally base rally, right? So the retest of today's low, it's still the top of this 25th of the June high and the open, right? And the bears needs to push and close from the intraday perspective below 7,717 based on my chart. There might be 7,795, 7,800 where I'm waiting with sell order just to create some kind of the over under, but 7,720, 7,700 the key here. We have 8 minutes to go, so let's have a look what we have from the gold perspective. And because of the G20 outcome, actually that's the best explanation. I would say the failure we've seen last week, and we were discussing this failure last week, that's the main reason why we're doing what we're doing on the gold, right? Now, we have this huge gap down, right? So that's huge central bank activity. And you know my theory, why they are going to have a problem to push it higher. That's when you can make the naked shorts and you don't have to care. And you have unlimited amount of the money. Anyway, the thing is, there is a still space to the downside, right? And trying to, use the same tools we were discussing with euro dollar or with the pound, trying to make this kind of the measure, something closer to 1360 as a possible demand in between 60 and 50. So how if we can agree that what we see here after post G20 is some kind of the consolidation over here, right now, so we might see attempt to break higher. If we are going to fail here, that would be very good point to fail, because after the failure we might hit this 1360. Let me make it that way for you to have it clear. Actually, that was the move, right? So this one is exactly, and in case of the failure at the top, let's make it orange because we are on an intraday chart. Right? So in case of the failure at the top of the current range, right? So attempt to break higher, and we're going to make the measure, and I see the possibility around psychological 1400. I'm talking exactly about 1403. 14 level 1403. And if you don't know why, then visit archive section on Liteforex Global YouTube channel and check our educational webinars we had in June. Okay, so that's how I see the possible price action from the gold perspective, intraday price action from the gold perspective. And we had the OPEC. So where we are from the crude perspective, here we have to switch to a higher time frame. Boom, there you go. If you remember what we were talking last week. Now I'm going to wait and watch. I'm on a wait and watch stance right now, still, even what we have seen here. I want to see dust settled after the OPEC meeting, and I want to see official EA tomorrow, right? Let's have a look what, and we are, of course, we are talking about the possible short setup, right? Because of what we've seen till now. I want to see today price action. Then let's switch lower. And the levels, if we are going to see today from this unfinished business perspective, 59.55 based on my chart, I might be interested in that level. All right, less than 2 minutes left here. It's getting a little bit more interesting. So we are going to switch to 1 minute. And guys, don't forget, it's a Liteforex birthday day, 14th birthday. So don't hesitate. Leave the birthday wishes under the comment section. And don't hesitate, use this promo code if you haven't already. So let's get back to the chart. As usual, we are going to watch first 5-minute trading range from the Nasdaq perspective. $20 seconds to go. In the meantime, pound is going a little bit lower, below the entry level as far as I understand. And there you go. So officially we hit the pre-market stops. So we are good to go lower. That's not going to change. That's the high for now. That's the low for now. course, based on the first 5-minute range, of course it's not going to work 100% of the time. But if you have wider range, then you may expect some volatility and nice price action. If you have very narrow range, then you may expect, at least during the first part of the US session, then you may expect some boring price action, sorry. You may hear some order sound, but it might be my exit from dollar yen ahead of the stop. I don't like this action right now. The thing is that lesson been learned. I've shown you where was my mistake, especially that I expected that we are going to have similar price action we've seen post previous ECB. And the good thing is here that it's getting a little bit wide, 14, not yet, like 20, 25 would be good. Two minutes to go. Let's have a look where we are from the British pound perspective, from cable perspective. Bears trying to keep control based on this 15 minutes possible supply. Just a reminder, based on the upper shadows, we already hit the demand. That's one of the explanation why to be honest with you, why I didn't like this, why I don't like this supply. I do like much more this closer to the weekly open blue dotted line, right? But also I do prefer to use bodies instead of the shadows, and I've been explaining this during the educational webinars we held in June, calling this as a game of the shadows as well. So hopefully because I'm short here, and just guys, don't forget about the risk warning and don't forget to test it on a demo account only. So maybe we will try to hit these stops under today's low, especially that we had two ugly UK PMIs already, manufacturing and constructions, and what can we expect tomorrow from PMI services? And by the way, we are going to cover it live tomorrow, right? So the range suggests attempt to consolidate. The market will try to consolidate during the first part of the US session. We'll see. But we are under the cash open, right? So in case of lower levels, let's have a look what we may have. 14 points, nothing extraordinary, right? But then we may try to, based on the trying to double it, 1, 2, we may try to hit 7,720, 7,700 with stops. So we may try to close the gap, and we may try to retest the very, very important levels. And here is a line in the sand, in my opinion, right? Okay, because we are watching the pound, right? Watching the oil as well as gold and Nasdaq. So maybe it's worth to have at least some kind of the summary of the first half of the New York session. So we are going to make the break soon, and around the top of the hour we will continue, right? We will make the summary, so it's a little bit more interesting what was expected ahead of the US cash open. So it's good that market is at least trying to move, but you know, guys, it's a summertime. Congratulations to all of you who are already on a summer holiday. Hopefully, from the market perspective, it's not gonna be summer lullaby. So pound is doing a little bit better, and we need below 32. Come on, you can do that, bears. When I was much younger, there was a nice song from the Salt and Pepper team. I had a few funny stories when I was doing the streams. I was trying to, to sing some songs from time to time, and then you know what? I don't know really how it works. Maybe I'm too old to get that how it works, but then there was some kind of the the bots were checking the video, and then was some kind of the how it's called the from the YouTube there was the request to remove the video because there was the request in regards to the rights, right, from that song. So you cannot even sing by yourself for quite some. Right now I'm not singing anymore. I cut dollar yen ahead of the stop, and looks like they wanna make the recovery a bit. So it's probably because of what Nasdaq is doing. Yes, really, and that's the bots, and I don't know how it works. I have no idea completely. So it looks like the bots can listen what I'm singing. So we all have to be careful what we doing online. Anyway, there is an attempt to go higher. At least bulls are above the US cash open right now. So let's switch to the higher time frame here on the Nasdaq, and let's have a look where we can go. And looks like the supply is around 7,800. That's where I'm waiting with my order. So let's have a look from this perspective of the doubling. Yeah, it looks like it might be the same what we were discussing to the downside. Yeah, exactly guys. So that might be interesting. So in that case we are going to have a third part, but right now it's a second break. So the bar is open second time, the last time today. coffee, tea, water, non-alcoholic drinks only, and enjoy the break. I'll be back around the top of the hour.
It would be great to have someone who could do our work for us, right? Someone to prevent us from making mistakes. Someone to assist with our routine professionally and allow us to devote our time to communicating with our closest people. If only we could get results without wasting our time for nothing. Unfortunately, it's impossible in real life. But wait, Liteforex social trading. Spend your time doing what really matters to you.
Welcome back, and that's the third and the last part of our meeting today. So we are covering the first part of the New York session live. Friendly reminder, guys, tomorrow 8 AM CET, pre-London Open here on Liteforex Global YouTube channel. Then 10:15 AM CET, 15 minutes ahead of the UK PMI services. We will start our meeting, and of course we are going to cover this event. And finally, tomorrow at 2 PM CET, so New York Open, we are going to cover it live again. Then Thursday, because of this long weekend in US, on Thursday we are going to cover only New York Open, and I'm going to watch the market in case of anything worth to talk about. I'm going to make the recordings, no worries. So let's try to summarize what is going on right now. With pound, I closed that short 2 or 3 pips below the entry. So we were short, so it was like, you know, I covered the spread, covered the commission, and 1 pip for catch up in McDonald's. Why? Exactly, here is the explanation. I wrote that maybe I'm wrong, but if that was supposed to be the supply, why we are still here, right? So probably even maybe later on we are going to see lower levels, but looks like market wants to hit a little bit more stops. So from that perspective, let's get back to the original trading plan, because right from the start I told you I don't like this supply over here, so let's overall remove that supply. I like the possible intraday supply higher towards what we have here, 2675, 2680. That's what I like. Stops above this New York, right? Yeah, stops above New York high yesterday. I love it. And in terms of possible demand, it's from, if we are going to take into the consideration the upper shadows, we already hit the demand. But that's nice place, right? Strong reaction. So maybe there are some stops and market wants to take them out. So I'm watching pound from the short possibility in between 2680 and weekly open around 2690. And from the long perspective, closer to 26 level here on the pound. Okay. I've been correct on euro dollar based on the distances and whatever we discussed. Everything was in full detail discussed this morning and during the first part of our today's meeting here in during the New York Open. So just even here you can rewind this meeting and check, or you can visit the archive section on the Global Liteforex YouTube channel and check the morning meeting. As long as we are below today's high, bears are good. Bears are good, and probably we are going to see stop count below this week low, below today's low. But don't forget, we have first possible demand closer to 1250, 1240, right? So here we know what is going on. We knew it exactly, just, you know, we did it like this. Simple measure, very simple measure. That was easy this time. It's not always that easy. So you know why we were talking about the shorts, and the good thing is it was like without the drawdown, right? It was to the pip. Now it's all about this week low, right? So that's it in regards to euro dollar. I think we might see yeah, a lower below figure. And the dollar yen, here I've been trapped. I explained the trap. I told you that lesson been learned. I don't know, we are trying to hold weekly open, blue dotted line, as well as yesterday low, green dotted line, right? So looks like from that perspective some kind of the range, right? And to be honest with you, I'm not so surprised, for example, because of what is going on here on Nasdaq. We were watching first five minutes of the trading range right after the US cash open, and the pound is going lower. Anyway, it was like 15 points only, right? So in that case, it's a possibility we might see more range trading here. But in case of market will try to double that range, right? I mean, make it twice to the upside. We have possible supply around 7,800, and in case market will try to double to the downside, we have possible demand closer to 7,720, 7,700. We were discussing during the second part of our meeting, right? So that's how the Nasdaq looks like. Now, crude oil. Whoa, that's very interesting what is going on here, especially based on the trading plan we discussed previous week, right? I'm not short yet. I'm not, yeah, one can argue maybe I missed something. No, because of our, oops, looks like storm is coming. Storm is coming. Anyway, based on what we discussed, I see the possible supply from the lower time frame a little bit higher. Overall, from daily chart, looks bearish. I switch lower. Yeah, but this time pound is going down without me, right? Bastard. Anyway, so I'm waiting for because we had the OPEC meeting, we have official EA tomorrow. I still think that 59.50 is reasonable here, and we might see these levels, right? So I'm not trying to chase the market. We'll see. In case we are going to confirm this close below the trend line, right? So depends where we are going to close. It might be that if we are going to close below the Friday low, right? If it's going to be the strong move to the downside, I may try to take the advantage in regards to yesterday low, and then I have to lower my sell by $1.50. Quite huge, but anyway, that's how it works, right? So then my supply is gonna be possible around yesterday low, but it's all about today's close. It's all about today's close. We will see what's going to happen, right? For now, just a reminder, 59.55, and you know, usually I'm trying to discuss the opposite side, meaning that it's good to have you know, both scenarios, possible scenarios in place. Even if I'm, let's say, bearish, it's good to know where the bulls may try to step in and try to counter attack, right? So to be honest with you, everything is below 55 here, right? I'm talking about this broken swing high. So in that case, I'm not interested in any attempt to go long when we are talking about the oil, only below 55 right now. Okay, that's how I see the things here. Then we were discussing gold as well over the course of the day, and here we know what is going on. I really think the lower level are still possible towards 1360, 1350. From the intraday perspective, we even draw this scenario, so that's what we are waiting for. Everything is here. That's why sometimes I know that I have a mess on the chart here when we are watching the charts, but mostly because I'm trying not to cancel the trend lines, right? Because then I can easily say, guys, go to the archive section, and we were discussing this in advance. It's not that we are talking, oh, it happened when you were long here or you were long here that you were good. No, we are talking well in advance, right? What might happen, not what happened, but what might happen, right? That's the key point compared to others. We are discussing what might happen. We are trying to draw the scenarios, possible scenarios, right? So that's why sometimes I do have a little bit mess on my charts. But guys, come on. Then I can easily say that was discussed well in advance, right? So here, waiting for a little bit higher levels on the gold, trying to take the advantage of the rising prices, trying to step in and try to short it towards 1360 based on what we've seen currently on gold. Holy maloney with this pound. So I was impatient. But you know, it's always easier for the market to go into your direction once you are already out, right? Anyway, good thing is that I was right? That's the beauty. What else? We were discussing Australian dollar, so let's have a look what we have here. We are testing supply, guys. We are testing supplies, and there is a rejection. So I'm looking for, I'm waiting for the London fix, and I might try to think about some kind of the bearish activity, a little bit higher, right? We'll see. Something closer to 77 we discussed before. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you very much for such a kind words. So we have this Aussie here. Let's correct it a bit. Let's correct it a bit. Yeah, something like, holy storm is coming in my place. I'm sorry about that. So yeah, I'm going to wait, and I'm going to try to take the advantage of this Aussie. So it's gonna be something around the 70. My stop is gonna be above the green zone, so it's gonna be something around 9 pips only, right? My first target is gonna be the candle after the Australian Central Bank rate decision. So that's gonna be my distance. Oops. That's gonna be my distance between the entry and stop. Right? So towards the first possible zone, it's gonna be 3 to 1. And if I'm going to hit that one, I'm gonna be good. Now let's get back to pound, because pound hit that stops we were discussing earlier. So maybe I'm going to think about the bullish activity right now. Holy maloney. Anyway, that's what we are talking about. That's the possible demand, and it hasn't been tested. Let's switch lower. And there is a bullish activity inside. The only thing I'm worried here is the London fixing, right? I might try to wait and see. It might be that they will go higher without me, all right? But looks like Algos did it nicely. Or not yet. Oh, not yet. So a little bit lower level still possible. Now on the move higher, we have to be aware of this base. So we have a drop, base drop, right? But come on, guys, that's the 1 minute chart. So in that case, we are talking about the possible demand base on the higher time frame. So I'm not gonna watch this one. But it might be that I'm going to decide to try to trade it after the London fixing within, so meaning next 45 minutes, next hour. And most probably, so let's place the order maybe. This huge storm is coming here. I'm sorry for this noise. Oh yeah, we got it. So yeah, I may try to, and the size of the move is somewhere closer to, I may try to 25.95 with the stop below 85, so 84, 11 pips stop. And then move back towards yesterday low 31 is gonna be better than 321, right? 26, I can do 26.29, and I can have something like this. All right, guys. Something that it didn't look good at the very beginning of the New York session turned out to something interesting. So the second part of the US session, I think it's worth to watch. So we are going to make the summary tomorrow during the morning meeting. In case of today's meeting, just a reminder, happy birthday to you, dear Liteforex. It's the 14th birthday. Don't forget, guys, about this promo code. I'm going to put the promo code again into the chat. Take the advantage of that. And you know, guys, that's it from me today. As usual, it was my pleasure to be with you here today. We do have 3 meetings tomorrow. More than welcome to join me at 8 a.m. CT, 10:15 a.m. CT, and again at 2 p.m. CT. Don't be trapped at the first thing, the second thing. Have a great rest of the day. Enjoy the rest of the day. See you tomorrow. Goodbye, guys. Thank you very much.